Well, despite losing Aaron Rodgers early in the Monday nighter, the New York Jets able to get it done with Zach Wilson at the helm. The 2021 second overall pick wasn't fantastic, but he did get it done. 14 for 21, 140 yards, a TD, an interception. Josh Allen, 4 turnovers in this one, the 3 picks and the fumble. For more reaction on this Jets overtime win over the Bills on Monday Night Football, here's Dave Naylor, our NFL reporter. Dave, great to see you. And you were in the stadium, and there was so much hype leading into this Aaron Rodgers debut. The American flags, he's running out on the field. The fans are loving it. In fact, they said they sold more tickets for this game than the last time the Super Bowl was at Meadowlands. So my question was, Dave, what was it like to be in that stadium 4 plays in and Rodgers goes down?
It's surreal, Jay, because the only pass that Aaron Rodgers threw as a New York Jet before he exited the game was a pass he threw out of bounds. He's 0 for 1. And because of the nature of the play when he goes down, it wasn't immediately that people were aware that he's going out of the game. He kind of sits on the turf for a little bit, and then it sort of slowly creeps in. So you have this kind of disbelief, given all the anticipation of this, the entire summer where this is the #1 conversation, Hard Knocks, all the headlines, all that, and it all just kind of vanishes in a moment. Now, I'm going to tell you how Aaron Rodgers still won this game for the New York Jets, okay? The rookie returner, Xavier Gibson, out of Stephen F. Austin, which is in Nacogdoches, Texas. I like just saying Nacogdoches. Aaron Rodgers was shouting him out going back to OTAs, like mentioning this rookie receiver who caught his attention, saying positive things about him. And in fact, after the Jets' last preseason game against the New York Giants, the end of August, Rodgers, unprompted, without being asked about it, went out of his way to talk about Xavier Gibson and the things he had done, both as a receiver and a returner, to show that he belongs in the National Football League. And it caught the attention of the media because nobody asked him about it. And we know the influence that Aaron Rodgers has on the roster here. So there's a pretty decent indication that Xavier Gibson was on this roster because Aaron Rodgers wanted him on the roster. And ultimately, he plays the hero in the game that Rodgers was out of 3 hours earlier.
I love that. I love that angle. And then, you talk about Zach Wilson, and he had been written off in so many ways, but Rodgers had spent so much time with him in the preseason and in training camp. He ends up getting it done. And credit to Robert Saleh, too, Dave, because he did make the adjustments to help this team get the win in overtime.
Yeah, I think there was always a sense that whenever Aaron Rodgers moved on in his career, that may be the opportunity for Zach Wilson, and being tutored by Aaron Rodgers for a number of years, not one summer, he may be ready for the opportunity. And look, the Jets did a good job running the ball. I mean, Breece Hall had a 26-yard run on the first play of the game. So they set that tone early. Then you see, of course, the 83-yard run that led to a field goal that turned out to be critical. But all night, whether it was him or Dalvin Cook, they were able to keep the ball moving. And look, Buffalo did a good job keeping Garrett Wilson shut down for most of the game. He had, I believe, 5 for 34. But when was it most critical? When they were going into that touchdown in the fourth quarter. There was a third down play leading up to that. Garrett Wilson is the guy who makes the catch on that. Then, of course, with Tre'Davious White all over him, he makes that juggling catch. So Garrett Wilson wasn't a statistical star tonight, but what do they say about great players? They shine when the lights are brightest, when the moment calls for it. He did that. Zach Wilson made the throw, and Garrett Wilson was on the other end of it. So a gutsy win, overall effort for the New York Jets.
As for Josh Allen, just not a great performance all around. Not just sacked 5 times, but the 3 picks, and he was so hard on himself after this one, Dave. Is this just a very good Jets defense? We know it's a good Jets defense. Is it just a tough game against a tough Jets defense, or was there something bigger at stake here?
I think it's both. Look, that's a very good Jets defense, both up front. I mean, their 2 corners, DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, are 2 of the very best. That may be the best duo in the National Football League. So there's no question they're facing a good defense tonight. But you heard in Josh Allen's comments, he kept referring to same old thing. And I think that's going to be the conversation in Buffalo tomorrow, that this looked like the Buffalo Bills at the end of last season, where the offense was too predictable because every time they got into a critical situation, it was either Josh Allen running or Josh Allen looking for Stephon Diggs. And I think overall tonight, Allen looked out of sync. I mean, there were just so many instances where he took the ball from center and didn't look like he didn't know what to do with it, or whatever he was looking for wasn't there. And all of a sudden, he was second-guessing himself, and of course, including in the time that he dropped the fumble at the end of the game. So dropped the snap of the fumble at the end of the game. So I think it was the Bills. There's been a sense that they want to diversify this offense. They don't want it to just be every time they need to move the ball, it's got to be Josh Allen scrambling, Josh Allen looking for Steph Diggs. He was one of the 3 interceptions tonight. But overall, that's the other thing. We saw at the end of last season, Josh Allen's deep ball touch seemed to betray him. Every time he went deep, it was in situations where he was throwing into double coverage. And tonight, sitting up above the field, when you watch those deep throws tonight, as soon as he let go of the ball, you could see the double coverage. I mean, they weren't critical. The first 2 weren't critical interceptions because they ended up essentially as punts deep in the ends, deep in the other ends of the field. But, as Luke was saying, you don't need to do that. They could have just moved the ball efficiently. They know that there's not going to be an elite offense coming at them for 3/4 of the game with Aaron Rodgers out of the game, and yet they took those shots and ultimately paid for them. So a lot of the feelings that Bills fans and the Bills organization was feeling at the end of last season, and they spent this offseason trying to address, came flowing back tonight in the second half of this game.
And if Bills Mafia thought that it was going to get easier, now they go home to face a Las Vegas Raiders team, Dave, that looked pretty good on Sunday under Jimmy G. So we'll see how it all plays out next week. Dave Naylor, a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for this, my friend.
Hey, thank you so much, Jay.
Don't forget, and I know Dave knows this, we are now, and when I say we, TSN Plus, the exclusive home of NFL Red Zone from the NFL Network with Scott Hansen, who is a friend of this program. Every touchdown from every game on Sunday afternoon, TSN Plus. Subscribe now.